She would have neither the time nor the money for medical school. She would earn a scant £10 a year. Nurses were boarded together in sparse lodgings at the hospital and worked all hours of the day and night. Her goal of becoming a doctor and a medical missionary would be set aside, and Julia could not believe God would allow these dreams to be lost forever. Sufficient unto the day, she reminded herself as she watched yet another train pass her by. The morrow will take care of itself. She took a deep breath and prayed that the next train would come quickly. Michael Stephenson stood with his sister Coroner at the entrance to the underground station while Miss Laura Maynard, the third member of their party, bought a nosegay from a flower girl. He watched as Laura studied the selections in the small, battered flower cart and made her choice, then handed over a few coins to the girl. The flower girl received the coins with a smile and even gave Laura a little curtsy. Laura held the flowers to her nose and breathed in appreciatively. She was a pretty blonde, slender and charming in an ethereal kind of way. Her light blue cape showed her complexion to advantage, especially with the cart of colourful blooms as a backdrop. The hothouse flowers made a bright contrast to the drab February day. Admiring Laura's beauty and poise, Michael decided he was reasonably content with the idea that she could one day be his wife. Feeling a nudge in his ribs, he turned to see his sister looking at him expectantly. He realised she'd been speaking to him. "I'm sorry, what were you saying?" Coroner's gaze travelled pointedly to Laura before settling back on Michael. "I was reminding you about Lady Amberley's annual ball in July, as you have every day since you received the invitation. Getting invited to this ball was the social prize Coroner had spent years striving for. This year it had been granted at last, probably because of Laura's influence. Coroner was bursting with pride and had immediately begun her plans for the event, although it was still months away. She poked him again. "I was saying that the ball has gained a reputation for being the night when the most fashionable alliances are announced." "Ah, yes, right." It was no surprise that Coroner would refer to an engagement as an alliance. He also knew full well what his sister was hinting at. She'd been doing everything in her power to promote a match between Michael and Laura, who was the youngest daughter of the late Viscount Delamere. Such an alliance would go a long way toward regaining the social standing the Stephenson family had lost. Truth be told, Michael was committed to the plan as well. The ball was nearly 5 months away, but he expected to have gained approval for Laura's hand long before that. Even so, he couldn't resist teasing his sister and keeping her in suspense. He patted her arm. "I suspect this year's ball will exceed all expectations." "Oh?" Coroner's eager expression showed that she'd taken the bait. "Yes, indeed. I heard that the old Duke of Norlington's granddaughter plans to announce her engagement to that wildly radical Member of Parliament, Mr. John Waverley." Coroner's eyes narrowed. "You know that's not what I was referring to." Still amused by his sister's social machinations, Michael decided to play the devil's advocate. "But, Coroner, I've only known Miss Maynard a few weeks. Not to mention that she's just come out of mourning for her father." "That's precisely the point. She is out of mourning. There is no time to waste, as she will have plenty of suitors, and the new Viscount is much more amenable to the idea of your union with his sister." This was true. Laura's father, the old Viscount, would have been dead set against the idea of his daughter marrying into the Stephenson family, after the way Michael's father had dragged it into financial and social ruin. Laura's brother, however, viewed things differently. He saw Michael's trajectory to success, both in prosperity and respectability. Being a young man, he did not have the same memories of the past as his father, nor did he put much weight on them. He was anxious only to get his sister settled in a good marriage. "Besides," Coroner continued, "you've already spent more time with Miss Maynard than I did with David before we were married." This remark sobered Michael. Coroner's marriage had been one of convenience, and in 13 years it had not evolved much beyond that, at least on Coroner's part. A flicker of doubt played at the edges of Michael's mind. Would his marriage end up the same? He pushed the thought aside. He might not actually be in love with Laura, but there was nothing displeasing about her. Why shouldn't they be happy together? Besides, he could not forget that Coroner had married a wealthy man as much for his sake as for hers. Still mulling these things